Welcome back to Wellness with Delaney. Today I'm sitting down with Courtney Luna. She is the author of Carnivore in the Kitchen. She has amazing inspiration for carnivore, animal based keto recipes. I absolutely am loving her content. So I'm so excited to have her on today. Courtney, thank you so much for joining.
Hi, thank you for having me. Excited to chat today.
Likewise. Okay, so I think first of all, when somebody looks on your page, one thing they see pretty immediately is that you've had a pretty incredible transformation journey. Would you share a little bit about the story of your transformation in your health?
Yeah, so I've had a long history of yo-yo dieting. I went to my first Weight Watchers meeting at the age of 13, and I was never like grossly overweight. I was, playing soccer, just had a little to lose, and apparently just self-conscious about it. I don't know why I even went. I always thought my mom gently suggested that I went, and she would watch these interviews, and she's like, "No, like you wanted to go." And then it just kind of got wonky after that. Like, you named it. I have tried it. The Special K cereal diet, cabbage soup, Slim Fast. I tried it all. Got a little closer to eating a, more proper nutrition when I discovered, well, when my mom discovered Mark Sisson's daily, or was it no, Primal Blueprint in 2010. And my mom was actually like a 25-year vegetarian at the time. And she's like, here's this book. She's like, I'm starting to eat meat again. And I never really like stuck to it. I tried, but I was young. I was in my 20s. I was partying. Like I wasn't really focused on health. It was more just like a weight loss thing. So that led me to low carb and that led me to keto. Keto on and off for about 7 years. Used it like after my pregnancies to lose weight. So at the time, let's see, after my second baby, used keto to lose 50 pounds for like the third time. And then I stopped doing what was working for me. I got caught up in the anti-diet culture BS where they're like, all foods fit, everything in moderation. Like, you need to have everything on the table to have a good relationship with food. And I'm like, yes, that sounds amazing. Like, my sugar addicted brain was like, this is going to be great. I gained 40 pounds in 4 months. I just like went on a bender. In hindsight, I know now that I can't moderate those foods, that I need to abstain. Anyways, gained 40 pounds, wasn't feeling well, clearly. My husband was sending me Dr. Paul Saladino's TikToks for like about a month. And I finally asked him, I'm like, why are you sending me these? Like, should we not be eating vegetables? And he's like, oh, I need to, do some research. So we just jumped into it. And I started out animal based. My, sugar addicted brain wanted to keep that fruit. After about 5 weeks, I noticed that that fruit still had a hold on me. So, like, my stomach could be full of a ribeye, but my mouth still wanted blueberries. So, I'm like, I think I need to just go strict carnivore. And I did. And it's been amazing. So, I've lost like 55 pounds. My skin has cleared up. I've always had, bad acne. My mental health was like a huge thing that shifted. I was on medication for Zoloft, or I was on Zoloft, which is a medication for depression and anxiety. And after about a month in, because my dose was kind of low and it wasn't like enough for me, I noticed a shift. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel like nowadays, like there's all these influencers sharing their story. So you kind of have, what to expect. Well, I just jumped in after seeing Saladino just to like feel better and lose weight. So I had no idea that I was going to get all these health benefits. So yeah, it's been amazing for me. And that's why I like to just, shout it for them from the rooftop. So anybody can at least know that it's an option.
That is so amazing and inspirational. And I love how like transparent you've been throughout the journey as well, really sharing that. It's so inspirational to people who might feel like they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do next. And so with that, how long now have you been fully carnivore?
So it's been 3 years. Like last week, I hit my 3-year mark.
Oh, happy anniversary,
Thank you.
carniversary, right?
Yes.
What would you say has been the biggest difference that you've felt?
I would say the mental health thing is like so important. And of course, like losing weight because that feels good and helps you be metabolically healthy. But I think having your mental health back is so huge. Like I had really dark days and I have two little kids at home. And there was days where it's just like I could barely even get out of bed and function. like I just was not in a good place. So just to like let people know that your diet is linked to your mental health, which I feel like when I say it now and knowing what I know, it just seems so obvious. But nobody was telling me that when, my OB put me on the prescription, my therapist at the time was telling me to, get the prescription from my OB. Like everyone was just like, "Oh, you're struggling? Well, here, like go on drugs." Nobody's like correlating, the bag of pita chips mixed with Skittles that I'm eating every night while I'm nursing my baby to help keep me awake. So I wish people, I just don't think, I don't know if they don't know or maybe they're like not believing it. I don't know. So that's my huge thing is to just let people know if you're struggling with mental health, like it is linked to your diet. If you're eating a high inflammatory diet, your brain is going to be inflamed. And if your brain is inflamed, you're probably going to have some tendencies to have depression and anxiety.
Absolutely. And something I love that you said just a little bit earlier was that you don't resonate with the all foods fit philosophy. And I'm in the same camp where, like, I've talked to registered dietitians and all of this, and they have this mentality. And to me, it's like, well, I wouldn't eat a little bit of dog poop. Like, why would I eat a little bit of titanium dioxide? Why would I eat a little bit of red 40? Like these things, right? And people sometimes will think that sounds disordered, but sometimes I actually feel like it's the opposite. Like when you have your boundaries and you stick within that and you feel amazing, I feel like it can really benefit disordered mindsets. For you, do you feel like eliminating the toxic foods has helped you like release a grip when it comes to food?
Yeah, like I tell people I have food freedom, and they're like, "How the hell are you saying that? Like, you don't eat anything." And to me, having this quote unquote restrictive diet leads to freedom for me. And those dietitians, like, it really pisses me off. I'm really passionate about it because I think their message is like destroying people's life. Now, I will take accountability that I'm the one that was in the McDonald's drive-through getting a McFlurry every night and gained the weight, but it stemmed from their message telling me that I should be able to eat these things in moderation. And it's just not the case. I mean, some people can, sure. My husband mostly eats a carnivore diet. Once in a while, it goes off plan, and it's not the end of the world to get back on track. He's not going to spiral and start binging. But there's a lot of us that need to abstain from these foods that don't make us feel our best. And that's okay. That's not disordered eating. I would say, like you said, what they're doing is disordered eating because why are Oreos, as delicious as they are, why are they considered food anyways? And these red dyes. And it's just so frustrating. Like we can't even, there's no common ground with them on that sugar is even addicting. They don't believe that. And brain scans show that sugar is lighting up areas in your brain like cocaine does. So can't we at least agree that, sure, if you want to have sugar in your diet, go for it. That's your choice. But can we agree that it's not a good thing? So the fact that they're like pushing this, it's really frustrating because a lot of us can't moderate it. And I also equate it to drinking, which pisses people off. An alcoholic, you're not going to be like, oh, you should be able to have a glass of wine on the weekend. How sad that you can't have a glass of wine? So why are we saying that to people that are having food and sugar addictions? Like, how sad you can't have a slice of cake? And there's a reason I don't drink either 4 years sober because I'm not just having one glass of wine. I'm going to have the whole bottle and maybe crack open another one until I go to bed. So yeah, their whole message it really just bothers me because they're arguing, we're not even arguing over vegetables. Like we're arguing over junk food that shouldn't even be food.
Mm-hmm.
The aisles in the grocery store of chips and cookies and candies, like there are food scientists that are developing these foods to hit a bliss point to keep you addicted, to keep you buying more. And well, they're also being funded by sugar. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent right
No,
now,
do
but
it.
these dietitians, if you go like on their website, like they are being funded by candy companies. And so they're essentially just being brainwashed and bless the ones that wake up, like my favorite, Michelle Hearn. Her handles eat meat. No, is it eat meat, repeat, run, eat meat? I don't know. She's one of my good friends, and she's like actually started questioning what she has been taught. She wrote a book on it, Dietitian's Dilemma. So there are a few dietitians that I see that are waking up and are being like, well, clearly what we've been taught isn't working. Look around. Like, I want to say 93% is that sounds high, but it could be right. 93% of our population is metabolically unhealthy. So yeah, what they've been preaching and what they're, spreading, like it's clearly not working. So let's, ask some questions. Woo.
No,
Sorry
I
about
love
that.
it. This is why you're on here, spitting the truth, and I'm so here for it. Yeah, and it's like, how are you going to tell someone to eat chemically addictive food in moderation? Like, I'm not going to tell people to go like snort cocaine in moderation. You know what I
Just on
mean?
the weekends.
Just on
Yep.
the weekends, it's okay. I mean, it's going to have an impact, and this, yeah, that really grinds my gears as well. So we're fully on the same page at that point. We're not even arguing about whether dates and arugula are food, right? We're arguing about whether something completely made in a lab with all these contaminants and dyes with petroleum base in it like are food. It's just crazy to me. So we know what you don't like. I would love to hear what you do like. Can you take me through a typical day of eating as a carnivore?
Yeah, so I keep it pretty simple, like on a day-to-day basis. I'm on a burger patty kick. I honestly haven't had much steak lately. I don't know why. So burger patties, I love chicken wings. We'll do some salmon occasionally. And like every so often, I'll do like one of the recipes from my book because my kids would get burnt out on burger patties every day. Like they're not going to want that. So we'll do like a carnivore pizza or lasagna, biscuits and gravy, or even just make a hollandaise sauce and put it on some ground beef. So it's relatively simple, but then, making it a little creative every now and then just to jazz it up because I mean, food is fuel, but it's also okay to like get some pleasure out of it. Like we've given up so much. We eat so simply. So, like it's okay to make a carnivore pizza, to all those carnivore places that yell that's like it should just be meat and steak and stuff. Like it's okay. If it comes from an animal, it's okay.
What is the base, like the crust of a carnivore pizza? I'm so interested.
Yeah, so if anyone has been keto and has heard of fathead dough, I took the almond flour out of that and subbed it with pork panko. And pork panko is just ground up pork rinds, and you can grind your own or you can buy it ground up. So it's mozzarella cheese, pork panko, cream cheese, and an egg. And I think that's it.
Wow,
It's a good thing I
amazing.
made a cookbook because I always have to reference it. I'm like, I can't remember anything that I've done. So
Yeah, if you want the exact recipe, guys, go get the cookbook. I'll link it in the show notes. That sounds
thank you.
really awesome. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of really creative carnivore recipes where like I'll default like having ribeye and butter again because I'm not that creative. So I love the idea of like having creative recipes that kind of can mix it up. So you said you haven't been doing a ton of steak as much lately. What are some of your favorite like sources of animal protein in general?
So if I am doing a steak, I love a ribeye. I think like steak or skirt steak is totally underrated. Um, we love roast, just like putting them in the instant pot and even from frozen if you throw them in. If you can't really, or you're not supposed to do frozen in the crock pot because it takes so long and it can be in the danger zone. So we do that. Buffalo wild wings, if you're, in a pinch and don't want to cook, or we do in and out drive through way more than I should admit. Um, and yeah, we just, try and just keep it simple, but prioritizing beef and having the other animals as like a side dish, if you will. So instead of broccoli and mashed potatoes, we'll have some bacon and shrimp with, our beef.
Amazing. That sounds absolutely delectable. Okay, so I see carnivores on both sides of the aisle on this one. Where do you stand with like black coffee?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, of course, it's not carnivore, it comes from a bean, but there's known like health benefits. And then I also see like how maybe some would say it's not healthy. I would say do what works best for you. I have given it up for 2 weeks to see how I felt, and I felt sad. Okay. Like, I love it. It's delicious. It's just part of my morning routine. I tried to do like bone broth, which is also delicious, but I just love coffee. And it's not even so much the caffeine. Like, I do try and moderate that, and I'll do like decaf a lot. Like I just love the taste and I love black coffee, or there's no in between. It's either that or like an insane amount of heavy cream in it.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've struggled where I've gone, I'm not fully carnivore, just full disclosure. I do like animal based right now, right? And so I'm eating probably 75, 80% carnivore because I've really swung recently. And but then I do like go through seasons of like full carnivore and I'm kind of playing around. But one thing that's really kept me away is like I can't give up coffee. I love it. I mean, granted, I've been drinking coffee since I was probably 11 years old. Like it's that's why I'm so short, probably. Like I really stunted my growth there and whatever. But like, yeah, coffee with some like raw goat's milk is my jam. The ritual of it, just I struggle. So it's nice to hear other people in this space, like the animal-based carnivore space, who are like, no, like I drink coffee because I'm like, I feel shame around it, but I literally cannot give it up.
No, like we've given up, well, at least I've given up alcohol, I've given up sugar, grains, like everything. Like you're not going to take away my coffee. Like I don't see any difference in my health when I remove it, just the
Mhm.
sadness. So
Absolutely. Are there any times that you like break carnivore or do you basically like always stick onto the plan?
I was very strict for 2 years. I never had a bite of anything that I was giving my kids, like not a bite of fruit, like nothing, because I was scared. I was afraid that it would trigger me and trigger a binge. And that is accurate because I have recently, even just a few weeks ago, had a little stint where I wasn't eating awful things, but it's like, oh, let me try these chips that I got for my kids. And mind you, they're fried in tallow. So if you're going to have a chip, it's healthy. And then I'm like, oh, let me just have a few cashews. Oh, let me have this dried mango. Okay, dried mango is like, I could easily binge on that. But sometimes like lately, it's just been happening. And like I had this like this week period where I'm like, I I'm aware of what's happening. I don't feel my best. My skin was breaking out again, but it's like I didn't care. It's like the sugar monster came back.
Mm.
So a good learning experience. Once again, I'm learning that I cannot moderate these foods. So yeah, I try and keep it strict now. Um, and yeah, because it doesn't serve me well to go off plan. I mean, I'm sure I could have some avocado that wouldn't be triggering, but like any sort of fruit, it will just send me off the deep end.
Definitely. Oh, especially like dried fruit because it's basically just condensed sugar,
It's
you know?
candy.
It's
Yeah.
literally candy. My husband loves dried fruit, and I'm always like, babe, you are just spiking your blood sugar. If you're gonna do it, at least have like the whole thing and do it like after you've had your like carnivore breakfast.
Yeah.
I
Pair
mean,
it with some fat or protein.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's been huge for me is like blood sugar, eating for
hmm
blood sugar. And at the very least, I start every day with a carnivore breakfast, like every day. And that's actually made a huge difference in my energy levels, my gut health, my skin, all these different things. Okay, so we're kind of talking about, like the yo-yo dieting, the abstaining versus moderating. Do you think that there is profitability in moderating, or do you think abstaining is the best way to go?
For me, abstaining is the best way to go. It's just too triggering. Unless I think eating this way brings a lot of self-awareness. So you know yourself best. I don't think an avocado is, that's not our problem right now. And sure, there's like the whole like oxalates and lectins and all that plants have, but like some of these things in moderation are fine. So I think just being self-aware and knowing what you can have, because I'm not like afraid of carbs. I don't eat a zero carb diet. And a lot of people don't know, like there's carbs in eggs. Scallops have actually a large amount of carbs, milk, yogurt, so it's not necessarily that, but just being aware of foods that are going to trigger you, that are going to open up the floodgates to lead you to having something that, wouldn't be serving you well.
I love that philosophy. I think it really, yeah, it like it's very catered to the individual. And some people have highly addictive personalities, and some people really don't. And there's a whole spectrum between that. So I think it is one of those things. Like I know even for me, like getting rid of a lot of the foods I was eating, I didn't realize the hold that these foods had on me, right? And it's like this mental, emotional, like, oh, I had a bad day. Like I'm gonna eat some chips. I'm gonna drink a glass of wine. I'm like, wait, why am I treating my issues with food and drinks, when like I should do that with maybe like journaling and praying and like having a conversation, like
Yeah.
why is food becoming this emotional thing? Have you seen a difference in like what you go to celebrate or to like ease a bad day when you have limited your food to the animal based?
I have. It has quieted the food noise, but I do have some. triggers where I am still emotionally eating even carnivore foods. Like there was a time like a year ago where I would get, flustered. Like I'm home with two little kids. We homeschool, so they're with me all the time. And not to like blame them if they're ever listening, but just getting triggered by little stressors. And I'd like go into the kitchen and take a swig of heavy cream. So even if it's, carnivore or animal based, it is, sometimes a struggle to not eat my emotions. And then it's like, okay, you need to dig a little bit deeper. Like, why am I trying to numb out right now? And my latest rabbit hole is like dopamine. So we're turning to these foods to get a dopamine hit instead of either sitting with your emotions, which is horrific to think about. It's so uncomfortable to think about, just sit there and why am I feeling this way and just, work through it. But there's other ways, you can go distract yourself or go for a walk or, have a bite of butter, or pinch of salt on your tongue, but just focusing on other ways to get that dopamine hit instead of your food. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm going right now, the Dopamine Nation. Is that what it's called? I haven't finished it. But that's supposed to be really good too.
Amazing. I'll have to check that out as well. Okay, so you mentioned kids, and I'm super curious when you're raising a family and it's not just yourself, like what does it look like cooking for your kids and husband versus yourself? Are they like, what are they following?
Yeah, so call them more animal based at home. So they eat what we eat. There's a lot of meat, there's dairy, they do have fruit. I try and teach them just nutrition and why we're eating this way. So when they want a piece of fruit, it's like, okay, let's pair that with a protein or a fat. So it's like grab a cheese stick or something. And they're not like understanding blood sugar, but so just teaching them why we're doing this, but then also giving them the control to make their own decisions sometimes, like when we're out of the house. And it's kind of just tricky because I don't like say we're going to a birthday party. It's actually really kind of annoying how people feed their kids, and now it makes my job at parenting a little bit harder because now I have to go like deal with that. But we'll let them, have some pizza and have a slice of cake. Okay, I might draw the line at like the red dye one, like okay, get the white frosting, but just teaching them, okay, here, you have the power to make your own decision. But later, when you're sitting on the toilet having diarrhea, it's like, hi, remember all that crap you ate? So just having them have self-awareness on how they're going to feel later and how their mood is when they're crazy, and just trying to teach them to listen to their body. And the reason I do give them that freedom is because if I'm always like saying no, 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 like pushing that ball down, well, eventually it's going to like pop up. I don't want them to go to a friend's house when they're older and like binge on all the things I wouldn't let them have. So
Mhm.
it's kind of ridiculous in a way because I'm trying to teach them to moderate these foods that aren't foods when I'm not even doing that myself and I'm abstaining. So it's just kind of a tricky situation. And I'm just hoping that teaching them about nutrition will lead them to making good decisions on their own when they're older. And I just hope I'm not screwing them up.
No, I'm so glad that we're talking about this. Well, first of all, I feel like this philosophy carries into like a lot of aspects of parenting, like teaching the kids to understand why we're doing what we're doing, to like have that discernment, to be able to think for themselves. But, it's not like this is this because I said so, but like that education component. And I don't have kids. So maybe I'm speaking out of total ignorance, but this is what I'm gathering. I've been trying to like gather information to prepare for the season, right? And this is something that really scares me because I feel the same way. Like, how are we going to handle birthday parties, especially when the friends aren't as crunchy as I am? Or how are we going to handle these different situations? And for me to not be controlling, but also to like make the best decisions for my family, right? I mean, there's that fine line. So I think that's really a difficult thing, but it's possible, right? And that's what I'm hearing. Like, it's possible to teach kids from a young age. Do you have any experience with feeding carnivore to picky eaters, or do your kids pretty much like pick up whatever you put on their plate?
Yeah, so this might be a little like people might not like this, but you're in control and you can feed them what you want and they'll eat it or not. Now, mind you, if I know my kid doesn't like a certain cut or animal, then I'm going to offer them something else. Or if I am giving something new, I'll make sure something they like is on their plate. But it's all going to be carnivore and animal based. Like I'm not going to be, feeding them something I don't want them to have because I don't want to battle them. And mind you, I have done that before, but I admit it's lazy parenting because it's just easy and you want to give it to them because you know they're going to eat the mac and cheese and there'll be no complaints. So I think, you just keep offering them different animals, different cuts. So instead of just if you're like new to this, instead of just having burger patties for dinner, make some burger patties, make some bacon, have something else, some cheese, give them a few different options with something they'll like, and then try the other things. Like they'll get adventurous. My kid, like, he loves, we had a pig tongue and he loved it, but he liked the novelty of it. Like, he was like, like hanging it out of his mouth. He loves heart. Like, I have heart in my book and I don't ever want to make it again for myself. But it's more of a muscle, like it's a muscle. So it's a little bit different than having like liver, which would be more of an organ. So muscle, the heart is more steak-like. And he thinks it's so cool too. It had like the tube sticking out of it. It skeeved me a little bit, but he loved it. So they get a little bit more adventurous too, and get them involved. Have them help you in the kitchen. That makes things a little bit more exciting for them, and they'll want to try things out.
I love this so much. Yeah, and I feel like when you introduce them young, like they don't know any different, so things don't seem super weird. What is your kid's favorite carnivore meal that you make?
Um, we love like my bacon cheeseburger soup. We do. They love that. My daughter, like, she just loves steak. Like, she's always like, I'm your steak girl because like she'll eat that all the time. Um, yeah, so we honestly just keep it simple, but like stuff on the bone, like my older kid loves chicken wings, lamb chops, like the lollipops, like ribs, like that makes it more fun for them too, for some reason, just holding on to that bone. So yeah, those are their favorites.
Love that so much. So it sounds like you're doing some of the organ meats. So are you like a nose to tail kind of lady?
Honestly, rarely. Like we're not eating that often. If it comes, it's usually like it will come in a box of a variety beef thing that I'm getting and we'll eat it then, but like I'm not regularly serving organ meats.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't even know how to like cook them. I have supplements and I have Pluck, which I love. But if somebody put an organ in front of me, I would have no idea what to do with it at this point. So I just buy them powdered because I'm like, I don't know. It's one more thing to learn.
Yeah, and Pluck is great. So I just got back from Meat Stock, an event over the weekend. I just got back last night, and James was there with Pluck, and he has a new one coming out, Brain, and it was cinnamon brain, and it was actually very delicious. It just tasted like cinnamon, like it tasted like dessert. Like there's all of us like eating powdered brain, and it was fabulous. So yeah, that's another great way to sneak in some organs.
I bet that would be so good, like on a cube of butter or in your coffee
Mm,
or in coffee with butter. Forget about
yes,
it. That sounds
yes,
so good. Okay,
it was good.
definitely going to be looking out for that. Okay, so what is a tip that you give to beginners when it comes to animal-based cooking?
Oh, to cooking. Yeah, I would just say just keep it simple unless that doesn't work for you. Like, don't feel like you need to make carnivore lasagna, every week. Just keep things simple. Have some bacon and eggs or steak and eggs. Have burger patties for lunch, a steak for dinner. Do some meal prepping might come in handy. Like, I like to bake bacon. You can do a couple trays in the oven. You can have that on hand for the week. I like to do well, I call them hard boiled eggs, but if they're in the Instant Pot, they're not boiling. But if you do eggs in the Instant Pot on a trivet, half a cup of water on high for 1 minute for gooey, 2 minutes for not quite hard and dry, but and then do a quick release in an ice bath for a few minutes. So just something that you can have on hand and ready. So if you're hungry, you're not going to turn to something you shouldn't have. So just, be prepared. Have some salami and cheese if you eat that. Have a stick of butter ready to go, brown butter, and put little brown butter bites in the freezer. That's really delicious too. Have some meat sticks, meat chips in the cupboard, some pork rinds if you tolerate, pork rind cereal if you're missing, that kind of breakfast. So yeah, lots of ways to kind of keep it fun and interesting and simple.
I love that. And I feel like a lot of what you're saying is like it comes down to preparation. Like have what you need ready and don't have the other stuff, right? Because the other
Yes.
stuff, I know that if I keep something in my house, I will probably eat it. So I just don't even go there. I'm like, sorry, like not happening. If I want a snack, I'll get jerky or something, But
Yeah, exactly.
so I'd love to dig into your book. Very exciting. And it looks like it has amazing recipes just from your Instagram alone. There are so many amazing recipes, which that's actually how I found you was through Instagram. What can people expect from your cookbook?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of everything in there for everyone. I have, let's see, a little Carnivore 101 section. So if you're new and you don't even know what the heck's going on here, I break down carnivore, ketovore, animal based. There's meal plans, there's a grocery list, and then I do have a chapter that's simply meats because I'm aware that some people don't eat dairy and they like to just keep it simple. And then I have, let's see, there's like soups and salads without the lettuce, appetizers, desserts, and then comforting classics, which is like all your favorite classic recipes, like, well, I think pizza's in there. I don't know. You know what? I don't know my own book, honestly. But like lasagna, biscuits and gravy, trying to think like eggs Benedict, meatballs, like different Swedish meatballs, different stuff like that. Like just, stuff that you used to eat in the past that I've carnivorized. And yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, there's some more stuff in there, but yeah, there's something for everybody in there.
I love that. Okay, you said desserts. How does one take carnivore and make it dessert?
I mean, we're really reaching for this because I also don't use any like fake sugars or anything, and you can like add some monk fruit to something if you want. But we have cupcakes, we have like a whipped mousse thing. I don't even know, I can't remember the official names I've called them. What else is in there? Ice cream sandwiches. So honestly, it's like obviously going to be like dairy and adding a little bit of cinnamon and vanilla, which is typically in desserts kind of just lends to that flavor. Like it feels dessert-like, even though they're not sweet. But of course, like anybody could add sweetener to these. But I think they're, pretty good without sweetener.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely amazing. For you, what is your stance on like honey?
I okay, so I have it occasionally. Like I'm obsessed with carnivore bars and I do have the honey on occasion. I I would just be more concerned about it being triggering for somebody and I wouldn't have gobs of it because it is sugar. And yes, it like comes from an animal in a way because the bee is what vomiting it out. But you don't want to be eating, a ton of carbs and sugar from honey. So use it sparingly if you do tolerate, if you're a sugar addict. Like it took me a while. The first time I had these honey carnivore bars, I ate 5 of them in a row. Okay. Like gross. Don't do that. But now it's like I can have one and be okay with it because it almost just adds like a little bit of flavor, not so much sweetness. So yeah, I would just be mindful of the carb and sugar amount and if it's triggering.
Absolutely. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And like kind of comes down to that bio individuality. Cause I see with like carnivores, some that are doing honey and adding like different little things. Like you mentioned, like the cinnamon vanilla, some that are very like meat and salt and water, and that's it. And for me, I'm like, wait, okay, so what works, what doesn't? And I'm always kind of curious and trying to see what people are doing because I think that's the best way to figure it out. And I actually really like that you're using like vanilla and cinnamon in your desserts because you're not putting any of the garbage in them, but you get that kind of richness, that flavor that sometimes people can miss. And I know I certainly can miss at times. Okay, so for somebody in general who is a beginner in the kitchen, and I know my generation is like trying to learn how to cook, what is like a top cooking hack to make it easy?
Um, I mean, I love a cast iron pan. Just get a pan really hot and add some tallow to it or tallow with a little bit of butter. Depends on what you're cooking because butter can burn quickly. And dry a steak, salt it, throw it on like a ribeye, do for a few minutes on each side. Easy.
Amazing. Love that. It's simple, it's satiating.
It's so simple. I know like cooking a steak can be intimidating, but it really is. It's so simple.
I love that. You know, the first time I cooked a steak, like when I started eating steak, after being vegan for years, I was really scared to handle raw meat. And one day, like, so my husband would cook it for me. And one day he wasn't home for dinner. I was like, I'm just gonna make myself a steak. I burned that ish onto the cast iron. It was blackened, and I was like pulling, scraping it off the pan. So I like had to learn how to cook meat, and I was actually so bad at it. I actually learned how to cook meat probably like end of last year because my husband always cooked it for me because I was so skeeved out by raw meat, and it took me a long time to learn how to do it. And then one day I was like eating steak tartare, and I'm like, how did we get here? Like, what just happened?
That's amazing. Steak tartare and carpaccio, so good, and no cooking involved.
No cooking involved. Are you into raw dairy as well?
Yes, but it's easy for us. We're in California, so it's legal. It's at the stores. We can buy it at Sprouts. So, yeah, I understand like if it's illegal in your state, it might be a pain in the butt to get, but yeah, we get it. I'm also comfortable because they're like doing testing for it. They're testing all the strains of whatever that can make us sick. So I feel comfortable with it.
Love that so much. Yeah, I'm such like a raw cheese monger. It's absolutely bonkers. Okay, so where can people get your cookbook?
So it's online on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, and Target. It is in some stores. So you can look on the store locator on Barnes and Noble, and there might be one by you. If you're in Canada, Indigo has it online as well. And last I checked, it was a while ago, but a lot of the Indigo stores had them in store too. And if you're abroad, Amazon, if you have an Amazon in your country, it will do that as well as in Europe. Blackwell's, I think. So, yeah, it's everywhere.
Amazing. I love that it's worldwide. Congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you. Yeah, it actually got international bestseller, which I was like surprised. Like so cool. Thank you guys.
It's amazing. And you have some pretty big people in the carnivore space using your recipes.
Yeah, everyone's so supportive. Like everyone is just like grabbed it and shared it and has been like amazing. Yeah, like zero expectations, honestly, for anybody to do anything for me. So when I see like people making recipes and sharing about it, like it's really amazing. I really appreciate it.
It's incredible. I love to see that side of the internet, like so supportive, just showing that, like showing up for each other, all collaboration, no competition. It's what I'm all about. So, Courtney, I love to ask everyone, what is your biggest wellness goal?
Oh, goodness. I mean, that's a good question
Thank you.
because it's like a big umbrella of things. So, I just want to be happy. Like my goal is to just be happy. And with that, comes a lot of little things sprinkled in, like my mental health is important and, being at a good goal weight so I can move my body and like play with my kids on the floor and run around with them at the park. So yeah, my wellness goal is to just be happy and present with my kids and go on lots of adventures. I know maybe that's not exactly like a wellness thing, but to me it's just having like a fulfilled life. And nutrition isn't everything, but eating this way has given me that and has given me my life back because it was not good a few years ago. So,
That's so beautiful. And I love that you've taken your transformation and you've taken everything you're doing and you've like built something really incredible out of it. Like you didn't just do it for you, but now you're sharing it with the world. Other people can have a transformation and like see the benefits as well. Are there more books on the horizon for you?
I said no, thank you for now. You never know in the future because it was amazing. I'm so proud of this one and I'm so glad it's out, but it was definitely a labor of love. And I don't handle stress well, and so like that affects my family. So maybe when my kids are older, but I just feel like for right now there's other ways that are less stressful that I can show up and help people. So, yeah, continuing to show up online, but also trying to figure out like, okay, what's my next thing? What's my next project? Because I do like want to get my hands on something, but not necessarily another cookbook right now.
Absolutely, totally valid. Oh my gosh, doing it all while being a mother is incredible. Like women are superheroes. That is incredible. And that's the nice thing about Instagram too. I feel like in social media in general, like you can be like, oh, let me just put a 30-second video up without having to make a whole book, right? Like there are options out there for you. Where can people find you and connect with you?
I am everywhere: Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Yeah, so slide into my DMs on Instagram and say hi. I would love to connect with anybody and help in any way that I can.
Absolutely. But you guys make sure to check Courtney out. Seriously, so many recipe inspiration ideas. I have been watching everything and have been loving all the learning that I'm doing as I'm in this journey. And I know you guys are going to as well, because I know a lot of you guys are in that animal based slash carnivore lifestyle or transitioning into that. If you loved this episode, make sure to share it and tag Courtney, tag myself. Let's get this word out there. And make sure you grab her book as well. I'll put the link in the show notes so that you guys can easily shop and find her book, but it is everywhere. Courtney, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure talking with you, and I hope everybody enjoyed this and at least had, one little takeaway to make their life a little bit easier and better.
Oh, I know they will. And the pleasure really is all mine. Well, you guys, thank you so much for listening. I can't wait to chat with you soon. And until then, have a wonderful rest of your day.